Hello and welcome to our special broadcast. I'm Sneha Mordani. This is Health with Sneha, where we talk about all things health. This includes the pandemic, this includes lifestyle diseases, air pollution, environment. Everything that has a direct or indirect bearing on your health is something that we pick up here for our discussion. Today we're going to be talking about vaccines that have got approval for kids. We're seeing kids being vulnerable in the sense that many of them are not vaccinated. And the sense really is that to prevent severe infection, vaccines are important. Vaccines do not prevent infection, but once infected, they protect the person from severe infection. India is going to have a vaccine for kids soon, starting from the age of 5. That's the approval that has come in with the Drug Controller General of India has approved Bharat Biotech's Covaxin for kids. Apart from that, we also have approvals that have come in for Corbevax for 5 to 12 years of age in India. And 6 to 12 will get Covaxin, 5 to 12 will get Corbevax by Biological E, and of course those above the age of 12 have already got the approval for Zydus Cadila Zycov-D, which is a DNA number. The vaccine rollout, viewers, will only happen when the approvals and the recommendations come in from the NTAGI and the NEGVAC, which essentially are the technical advisory groups for vaccination that advises the government on vaccination. And there's a special group within these groups that gives advice regarding vaccination for COVID-19. So do not expect the vaccine to be available in the market from tomorrow onwards. There is going to be some time before we see these vaccines get rolled out for our kids. But good news nevertheless. And to talk about this piece of good news, I have with me two pediatricians, top pediatricians of Delhi and the NCR region. I'm going to introduce them in just a second from now, just to get designations right. Dr. Manish Manna is the head pediatric and neonatology department, Paras Hospital, Gurugram, and Dr. Dhiren Gupta, associated with Gangaram Hospital in the national capital, is a pediatric intensivist, pulmonologist, and also specializes in COVID care. Thank you both for your time here. First of all, I'm going to request Dr. Dhiren Gupta to just clear the air about this particular surge in cases of COVID-19. The sense really is that more children are falling sick and there are more pediatric hospitalizations, Dr. Dhiren Gupta, as compared to the previous waves. Is that correct?
It's partially correct that this time, age group 4 to 12 got definite more infections as compared to the past because of schooling. They were never been exposed to vaccine. They were never exposed to infection. So this was, you can say, a subgroup which was never been exposed to this virus. So very high chances that they got infection this time. But I would not say that hospitalization. In fact, as compared to the last wave, till now, we have got less hospitalization, less infection. I'm talking about Omicron itself. I'm talking about January, February Omicron. So as compared to that wave, it is the start of the wave. So I'm not sure, 100% sure that what it is going to be, say another 2 months, another 1 month. But number of pediatric patients, especially of this age group, 4 to 12, 4 to 15, are getting affected more than as compared to the past.
As compared to the past. And this, Dr. Manish, is also being attributed to schools opening up. And I just want to add that disclaimer that this was really expected because a lot of parents and teachers and people in general have panicked over infections increasing in schools. In fact, schools were shut down in what appeared really to be a knee-jerk sort of a reaction. At least that's my opinion. Is this a surge transmission amongst children, Dr. Manish, expected?
Thank you. Yes, it was very much expected. These kids, they had stayed inside for 2 years. And I completely agree with you. The schools have been closed for more than which was required. So the panic which is there amongst parents is actually unfounded. It was expected. And like Dr. Dhiren said, the kind of cases which we are getting are actually mild, milder than the last waves. Definitely not increase in hospitalization. They were comparatively more in the previous wave. Apart from the COVID, we are also getting a surge in other viral infections and other bacterial infections, which was also not happening because the kids were inside for the past 2 years. So they have also increased. So, we should not think that every fever is COVID. We have had multiple instances wherein the child parents thought it was COVID and it turned out to be typhoid or some other illness. So all, gastroenteritis, these associated respiratory tract infections, and COVID is one of them. They all have surged because of increase in socialization and outing of the kids, as was expected.
Dr. Dhiren, a lot of parents have been saying, and this has been going on for over a year now, that we will only send our kids to school when the vaccines arrive. The WHO said, the government of India said that, listen, this is not the way forward. Children should be in school in person. Schooling is important. Though this development today obviously signals at some point in time the start of, the rollout essentially of vaccines for kids as young as 5. But would you tell parents today that even if they are not vaccinated, they should actually be in school? And orders that have come in from the Chandigarh administration, for example, that without vaccines, kids are not going to be allowed, is not right, is unscientific, Dr. Gupta?
Yeah, I think we need to separate it out. The role of vaccine to prevent infection, unlikely, right? And whether this vaccine was available or not, or going to be available or not, all kids should attend the school, especially when we know that this type of Omicron is milder strain. Now we talk about the vaccination. Definitely, vaccination should not be an essential criteria to enter the school. And because, especially for pediatric, we have destroyed one whole generation because they couldn't attend the school. Now we talk about this vaccination. We all know that these vaccinations never prevent the infection, especially when we talk about COVID. They are meant for serious infection. Omicron is not a serious infection. So what we understand, why we are giving this vaccine, it is to boost up the confidence of the family, boost up the confidence of the society. And secondly, we don't know. Presently, it may be BA2, what we know. But in near future, it may be some Delta or some other variant which maybe dominantly can affect the pediatric age group of this age group, this age. So we want to build up the confidence, especially when we know that Coronavax is pretty safe vaccine. We have seen past 3 months, there are hardly any side effects and very good immunogenicity. So given the whole aspect, the vaccination should be given to all the kids, especially between 5 to 18, 5 to 20 years old. But despite of that, vaccine or no vaccine, all kids should go to school. That is more important than vaccination.
Well, I really hope that people who panicked over the surge in cases, many of them have actually requested schools to quickly adopt a hybrid model, are listening to this conversation, Dr. Gupta. Dr. Manish, many parents have spoken about this, and I've had concerns myself as a mother of a 5-year-old that post-COVID, there could be the possibility, though it's rare, of MIS-C. Do give us an idea about the surge in cases, if at all, of MIS-C that you've seen after the surge in COVID cases we saw in the month of January and February early this year. Has that appeared? What is the kind of comparison that you would draw if you were just to talk about the second wave, for example, to talk about the surge in cases, possible surge, I don't know, you'll tell us about it, of MIS-C?
Thank you. So we saw MIS-C cases after the maximum numbers after the first wave. For about 8 to 12 weeks after the first wave.
Okay.
The numbers reduced after the second wave. We have not seen in our center any case of MIS-C in the third wave or till now, in the past 3 to 4 months. Dr. Dhiren may have seen, but we have not seen. So maximum about 10 or 12 cases we had seen in the first wave. It was picked up early, diagnosed early, and effectively treated. So that was, and after the second wave, the number was less. Third wave, we hardly saw. So that which was thought of, and yes, it was there around the world. Surprisingly, after Omicron, we haven't seen. Dr. Dhiren may like to add if he has seen.
Yes, in fact, I'm going to come to Dr. Dhiren because Gangaram Hospital in Delhi was reporting a large number of patients of MIS-C, and we ourselves have reported of several patients that Dr. Dhiren himself had treated. I remember having these several conversations with you, Dr. Gupta. What have you seen after the surge in cases we saw in the beginning of the year, essentially?
Yeah, what Dr. Manish said, I totally agree. Ours is referral center. So we get all the MIS-C cases of the North India. That's why we got around 15 cases of MIS-C in the third wave. If we compare with the second and first wave, it is just 1% or 2% of them. So probably post-Omicron, MIS-C cases are almost negligible. So there should not be any scare of MIS-C in post vaccination or post infection.
How do you look at this development, Dr. Manish, when it comes to the approvals that have come in from the regulator for vaccines for kids as young as 5? I know there is a school of thought, there are medical experts who've been talking about the fact that when the risk of severe disease is so minimal in kids, why then have these vaccines roll out for kids? There are experts who've been talking about it even now. How do you view this, Dr. Manish?
Completely agree with you. As a matter of fact, the statement had come from none other than Dr. Mulyal. So I had seen his interview on this, that whether it's required or not. But then again, as Dr. Dhiren pointed out, the present variant is a mild one. We don't know, how the virus will mutate, what will be the future. Because rest assured about one thing, that we will keep getting these surges in many years to come. We'll see multiple spikes every year. The most important thing about rolling out this vaccine is confidence to the parents. It gives confidence to the parents, to the caregivers of the children. Yes, our kid has got vaccinated and some immunity has been generated in the child. The Covaxin vaccine and the COVID, these vaccines have been proven to be very safe in children. There have been hardly any severe side effects. And a good thing is that the government has rolled it out in a phase-wise manner from 25th December onwards. So, it will boost the confidence of the parents, and God forbid some other new variant comes in, at least they will have the confidence that kid has been vaccinated. So we have done our job.
Okay. Dr. Gupta, many say that these vaccines have been approved under emergency use, have been given emergency use authorization. So it's not the regular pathway of approval. Why can't we wait for a while? Would you say that one should be waiting at this point in time, or should one go ahead and ensure vaccination for their kids once they are rolled out?
Yeah, if you look at past 3 to 4 months, government didn't brought this vaccination in haste. They waited, and if you look at the data, there were 70,000 of the kids who were vaccinated in the Maharashtra. They did not find any side effect, any major problem. So it's an emergency use. It's not of the regular use. So I agree with the government that they took their time. And though these vaccines were available in the end of the 2021, still they waited for almost 5 months. And it is not an experimentation which is going on in the pediatric age group. They waited for this vaccine. Once they found that it's pretty safe, only then it is being rolled out. And when we talk about Corbevax, the type of, the platform it uses, we are using this platform for years, for almost 30-40 years. The hepatitis B vaccination is produced by the same company with the same yeast side cells, and there are hardly any side effects. Even in newborn, we are giving these vaccinations. So my feeling is that in otherwise also those vaccines, if you give the same vaccine to adult and same vaccine to pediatric or less than 2 years, you will find reactogenicity is less in pediatric age group as compared to adult. So I feel that the decision of the vaccination rolling is appropriate. It should be done, and we should not refrain. We should not, go by the rumors and social media.
Okay. Dr. Manish, I saw and heard actually from a lot of people who came out and said that once you give the vaccine, then the child gets infected. I know this is absolutely bizarre, but this is the kind of stuff that is circulated in social media, where parents come out and say that because I got my child vaccinated using Covaxin, my child got COVID the next week. What do you have to tell such parents when they put out information of this nature?
So first thing is, most of such parents who bring out such information and are on social media are probably, well-educated people. I ask this to everybody, all of you have studied science in your class 10 and 12. Be scientific in your approach. Anything that science doesn't explain, how can you just believe, any forwards? Covaxin is a killed vaccine, number one. The killed virus is put into the body of the individual. This is not a live virus that replicates and is likely to cause a pathogenicity. So it's a very safe vaccine. About of all the studies, about 525 children were taken into this trial, and of which only about 374 subjects had reported mild to moderate symptoms, and of which about 80% resolved within 1 day. So safe vaccine. It has been put into test. Adults have also been given it. So what probably must be happening is their kids have gone out and they have been exposed to the virus through some other source. Vaccine cannot be responsible for it. So let's scientifically explain it to them, and we should kill, such kind of a I would like to quote what Prime Minister of India had said on 25th of December. कुछ लोग इस देश पे भय, भ्रम और अफवाह फैलाने की कोशिश करते हैं. हमें ऐसे लोगों से बचना चाहिए. So we stay away from such people. We should say this to the people of the country.
Yes, be wary of the virus, but be more wary of people who are spreading fake news. Dr. Gupta, last words to you. What do you have to say about everyone extremely fearful about the kids this time around? Obviously, we're seeing more infections because kids are not home now. Thankfully, schools are not shutting down. But what is that you'd like to say about what to expect in days to come, especially when it comes to kids?
Just one word: go and vaccinate your kids and be safe when you're going to vaccinate. Otherwise, you may catch infection. Presently, there is a mini surge going on, right? So we don't want that kids should be exposed to the virus, especially during first 15 days of the post-vaccine. So this is the time. This is the high time. Get yourself, if you are due for booster, get your kids vaccinated and do send them to the school. Whether vaccinated or not vaccinated, many kids past 2 weeks are getting infection. Every 7th day they are getting. Past 2 years they did not got any infection. How the immunity is going to build up? The immunity only gets into once you are exposed to infection. We all have been brought up in raw environment. If you try to give them artificial environment, infection free, you'll have more allergies, more problem in the life. And let your child face the music of stress, disease, and let them be physically more stronger. Unless you don't send them school, you are going to destroy their future. So schooling is must, with or without infection, but vaccination is must.
Okay. Dr. Dhiren Gupta, thank you so much. I'm thanking Dr. Manish as well for your valuable time and perspective. This was a very, very enjoyable conversation. A lot of parents have lots of questions about what to do next. Parents do panic. I think it's inherent. If you're a parent, then you will be panicking when there are infections in schools. But be cautious. Be wary of the virus, but be more wary of fake news as well. Use your mind, apply science, and do not believe in fake news. That is something that all of us really should be staying away from. Thank you both for joining us. I'm thanking our viewers as well for connecting with us. Hope you found this useful. Thank you for watching.